Hi, my name's Autumn. I was intending to have this video up way sooner. I recorded basically everything in September, end of September. I knew I was going to get busy, but I was planning on doing some editing over Thanksgiving break and winter break, and then I didn't during either of those. I just got busy, so I'm gonna try and do as much as I can now. It's currently January when the giant snowstorms hit a bunch of the US. But basically, in this video, I'm showing how I made my little vest, which I don't actually know where it is right now, but I made a little vest. Here's a photo. And basically showing my process of making it. I made it using a t-shirt. It doesn't look great. I don't know how to sew buttons, so we didn't do buttons or buttonholes or anything. I ended up just using I have little wrap pins, so I ended up just using those as my buttons and just like clipping it together, and safety pins as well. And so you're gonna kind of like just see my process. It's not specifically a tutorial, but it is made so that if you want to make it and follow it, you can. I've never done this before. This is the second piece of clothing I've ever made. So I made measurements for what I thought it was going to be. It worked out fine. But again, I don't know what I'm doing. So it was just kind of a, here's what my sketch looks like. Here's what I think I'm going to need for these different here's the different measurements that I think I'm going to need. And I just kind of went from there. My original plan was to make it from like just cloth and fully sew it together, and we couldn't find any cloth in the right material, so we ended up having to get a t-shirt, which then makes it easier if other people want to follow it and make their own. Yeah, that's basically it. Alright, have fun. So we'd probably like 21 or 22. Okay. Cross in and down. About here to here. So it's about 4 inches at the top. Across is I'll probably want it to come down. If I go from the seam to about here, I'll probably be like 10-11 inches. Do we think that's good, or do we want it to go down 12? I think maybe 12. Down is about another, well, if we go to where the hip bone is, which is that right there, it's 9 inches. So that's kind of the front. And the back, oh, I should probably measure across. I don't know if these are the right measurements where I should be measuring. I'm just measuring basically from seam to seam. So we'll go, it's 15 inches from tip of the shoulder to tip of the other shoulder is about 15 inches. Okay, so I'm thinking either have a design like that with the seam in the middle, or not have the seam in the middle, whichever one's easier. And I'm thinking having that triangle that covers the butt a bit. So if I go for the shoulder to shoulder, 15 inches. Oh, Christ. Okay, we know that going down is 19 inches. Now it's probably gonna go down again to that same, like, whatever, 21 or 22, but do I want it? Now the question is, how far down do I want it to go? Do I want it to cover, like, here, or down farther, or, like, all the way down? We'll start with, like, 21 or 22 and add a note saying maybe larger, because I think, or, like, maybe longer in the back, because I want it to look good, but I also don't want my butt hanging out, so we gotta figure that out. It'll be 3 inches like that, but then, I mean, I'll probably have to measure, but if it comes up, starting, should probably, the part that I know where it's gonna stay, should probably be, and then if it goes down, honestly, I think it could go down to about, I gotta find the middle of my butt. There we go. Honestly, I think that might be fine. That's 11 inches. Should be fine. Okay. So here's what it looks like right now. Now tomorrow, we gotta go to the store and get a, we're gonna get like a light blue fabric. When I say light blue, I mean kind of, you can't really see my nails very well, but kind of like what my nail polish looked like, or this necklace, which they are different blues. This one's more green blue, like a teal, and the other one's more like light blue, but somewhere in between the two, where it's like vaguely greenish, but it's or vaguely like tealish, but it's not actually, if that makes sense. And then I'm gonna have a dark purple flowy shirt underneath, which I can't currently find, so I gotta go look for that, which is probably what I'm gonna do right now. Which is kind of this color, but it's like a see-through mesh, which is why I want the vest over top of it. And then I'm gonna wear like black, they look vaguely navy blue when they're next to actual black stuff, but like, it doesn't really matter. And then I was thinking I'll just wear like the boots that I wore, but I tried wearing those boots with the pants, and hell no. So I'll either wear those pants, or I've got some other flowy black pants that I might wear instead, because I know those fit with the boots, but if I find other shoes that work, I'll wear those. Okay, time to go find that stupid shirt. Okay, I'm back. So, when we were going out to look for the cloth and fabric that we were trying to get, as I've mentioned before, like, we couldn't find it because all the fabric stores we used to go to are either now out of business or they were closed at the time. We just couldn't find anything. So we went around to a bunch of different stores, went to Michael's, we went to Target, I think, like a bunch of random places. Eventually at Michael's we did end up finding stuff, but we went to some malls because my mom was like, or not malls, but like stores, because my mom was like, we should try and find, like, if we can't find the fabric or whatever you want, let's try and find something that you can wear. So here's some outfits that I looked at, and on screen they do actually look kind of good, and I did like them. Like, I kind of liked some of the color combos, but the pants didn't fit right, or the shirt had like too loose stuff like right under the arms. It was just not great. Like, they didn't fit my body well, so we didn't get them. But in case you're confused why, because they look fine on screen, I do point out some of the stuff, but just to let you guys know, I wasn't being picky, they just genuinely in person didn't look good. I look like Shrek. Like, it's so loose. Maybe, like, okay, if this, like with safety pins and stuff, maybe, but it just fits so weird. And like this not having a collar, I don't know, it's just weird. The back eats. Okay, trigger warning, scissors, but, so basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking these measurements and drawing them on here with chalk, so that way it washes out. By the way, this is the thing that we got. Not quite what I was looking for, but it's close enough, and it looks good with the thing. Like, we looked at the two together, and it looked good. So I just gotta draw on the stuff, cut it. Well, probably I'm gonna try on the t-shirt first, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here's what it looks like. I know you guys can't really see, but also the little dots are just from the rain. It's raining a little, but I like the rain, so we're good. This is what it looks like. It's kind of large, but it's not super large. I'm also wearing my other shirt underneath. So yeah, basically I'll draw on the stuff, giving a 1-inch seam allowance because that's very important. Yeah. Okay, so everything, that's the outline, and I have to cut for 1 seam allowance, 1 inch seam allowance, so you can see those little things I marked there, and keep that. With that, I'm just gonna follow like right under, like right in the seam. That I'm just gonna eye that, and then we aren't cutting the sides, and then I'm gonna do the back. Okay, so this is what we got so far. I feel like I cut it so uneven. Oh god, look at that. I might have drawn on the thing, like that wrong, but like, Okay, now I just gotta remember 1-inch seam allowance. I'm most likely gonna forget though. Don't be like me. Don't forget. And I gotta also make sure that I'm not cutting the bottom layer, like the back as well, because that has a slightly different design where it's going down. That might look a little goofy. Well, we can always take more off. I'd rather start with more and then decide, you know what, we're gonna take this off, then decide, oh wait, I need more cloth and I don't have any. So, wish me luck. Okay, so we cut it. Okay, so basically, I have to keep walking around all of the deck furniture, it's awful. But, basically, so, yes, I did forget, and started cutting here, and then I was like, wait, no, so, we cut that off. I'm gonna have to fix that later. I'm gotta cut that, but basically, I tried my best to give about an inch allowance, and that's just gonna have to get folded over. I got seam allowance there, same with there, and then I think I'm gonna have to cut it at the no, I'm not. I've also got to figure out what I'm doing with this. Do I keep it? Am I getting rid of it? I don't know. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to flip this over, start mapping out the back, figuring out what to keep, what I'm not going to keep. I'm like 95% certain I can just cut off the sleeves. So I started doing that a little more on the left side, but I'm going to just double check. I mean, there's not really much I can do if I can't, but looks like I can. So, yeah, I'm gonna go finish. I'm gonna map out the back, check back in, and then cut it out. And then I'm probably gonna save the sewing for a little later, even though I could do it now. I might just finish it today. Honestly, I could. I don't know. I'll figure that out later. Alright. Okay, so I marked out some of the stuff. Yes, I cut off the arms. I got bored, so now one of them is on my leg. It's currently falling down. And the other is on my arm as a sleeve, because why not? It's funny. Anyways, so I just got to cut that with 1-inch seam allowance, figure out what the hell I'm doing up there. And then I think that'll be good. Okay, wish me luck. Hopefully my memory actually works. Okay, so I cut it out. Hold on, let me cut off the tag real quick. Okay, is this gonna stay up? Stay. Bruh. Hold up. Gotta make sure I don't lose the plastic so it falls on the floor. Can this thing actually, like, work? Oh, it goes through. So weird. I'm gonna put this in my pocket. I'm being attacked by mosquitoes. This is awful. Okay, wait. Ooh. Hold up. Need to, like, prop this. Okay. Wait, guys. Ready? Put this on. Wait, guys. Oh my gosh. Wait, guys. I don't know if that's even. Guys, do you see the vision? Oh my god. It's actually working. Okay, the one thing I don't like is how loose this is. It will get tighter with, like, the seam stuff. Oh my gosh, guys. I'm so happy. Okay. I just hope it looked alright for homecoming. Alright, I'll see you in the next part when I'm sewing. Or, like, it'll be, like, a second for you guys. The reason why you weren't seeing me do any of, like, the cutting and drawing and stuff is because I was listening to the Crane Wives and singing my heart out the entire time. Because I wanted to. Okay, so last time I left off, we had this. Now what I'm going to do today is, I just realized you can't really see my working space, so I'm going to have to find a better camera angle. But basically, I'm going to be folding the seams and sewing them. So I have my mother's sewing box. Okay, so now that I've gotten to the bottom of the side, I'm going to cut a little piece here so I can fold it over. Those are just not good scissors. Okay. So, if you look at this, I've got the pins in. Thing is, I'm scared of my sewing machine. It's also not my sewing machine. I think I've only used it about like twice. I don't have a sewing machine. It's my mom's. And she's at work, so that's great. And I don't think my dad knows how to use it. So we're gonna have to figure that out. It's gonna be awesome. But basically, so now that I've got the first bit done, now the one thing I'm gonna have to be like pay attention to is making sure that I'm not pulling too much in the front, because I'm going to try, what I'm going to do is after I've done the front, I'm going to cut the back and fold it over and put a seam down the middle so that I'm taking even amounts from the front and the back, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, you'll see me do that, but I also probably might need to flip around how I've got these little pins, because I might end up sewing the other way. I'm not sure. I'd be careful taking this off so I don't stab myself. Okay. I have about 45 minutes until I gotta go. So I'm gonna go grab that sewing machine and probably watch a tutorial on how it works. Wish me luck. Oh. This is scary. Dude.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm just worried I'm gonna mess up. Okay, so as I was working on the sewing aspect of this using the sewing machine, there were certain parts that I just simply did not have the skill set to do. So I had my mom, for example, when we were turning corners or finishing something with the sewing machine, my mom would be doing that instead of me, because I didn't know how to do it and I didn't want to make it this far and then mess up. So she would be helping me with the turns and things like that. Not even helping me, she would be doing it. But other than that, that was the only part that she did for me. She showed me how to use the sewing machine, etc. I am terrified of needles, so it was an interesting experience, and I now feel much more comfortable using sewing machines. Okay, so we got it done. Now all we have to do is cut the excess off. I think I made a little too much excess. We haven't done this yet. If we have time, we will. If not, I've just got to clean up that little cut. Ooh, I'm so excited. And then I'm going to pin it. I have a little wrap pin. All right, let's make sure you cut off the excess. Okay, so one thing I realized is that if this is just going like this comes down like 2 or 3 inches more than the other side. So that's just kind of awkward. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like fold it over like that a bit and then button it here, and then probably put a couple safety pins here. But another thing is that, like, I love how flowy this top is. The pants are also really flowy, and I feel like it doesn't match. I look very blocky, is kind of what I'm trying to say, because this is not fitted. this was fitted, I'm not making more adjustments. If it was fitted, it might look a little cooler. There might be a way to do that. I'm not sure. Like really quickly. I could like bunch it up. I'm not sure how it would look in the back, but I could like bunch it up a little in the front and then, anyways, I can figure that out. But outfit number 1, this will look better in the front, in theory. Okay, so this was a huge amount of fun. As I said, this isn't really a tutorial on how to make it, but it did show my process, which was kind of the point. And if you're planning on making something, go ahead and try it. The worst that happens is you get some experience and you know how to do things a bit better for next time. The first piece of clothing I made was a skirt. It was a flowy skirt. The design was made to be simple and beginner friendly, and it worked. The only issue we had was with an elastic waistband, which didn't work well. This was also fairly simple, fairly beginner friendly, I'd say. If you don't have any like sewing skills or you're worried about it, or you don't have a sewing machine, I was debating about hand sewing it, but I felt like it wouldn't look as good if I hand sewed it versus not, so I thought, let's just use the sewing machine. I learned how to use it, got over my fear, so that was good. But if you want to hand sew it, just hand sew it. And if you don't want to sew it at all, like, if you saw how it looked when I hadn't even sewn it, and it still looked good, you just might want to keep that in mind for if your plan is to not sew it, because I was cutting it as if I was going to sew it. So if you're not planning on sewing it, you aren't going to need the extra seam allowance and things like that. You just want to make sure that your material isn't going to completely fall apart for not having like good like ends, so it's not going to like fray and things like that. But I guess that's basically it. I hope you all enjoyed. Sorry for not having more things uploaded. It was just insanely hectic. I don't feel like trying to explain everything that happened. It's also none of your business. But we're here now. So, yeah. Alright. Bye. Love you all.